Hello and welcome to the course Signals and Systems. I am Dr. Zishan Karim from Electrical Engineering Department, CUI campus. Let's move to the lecture contents. In this video, we will cover useful signal properties in detail. Useful signal properties. There are a number of properties. We will study some here. For example, time shifting. As the name suggests, for example, you have a signal g of t, original signal g of t. Consider a signal g of t and the same signal delayed by t seconds. So if we have a g of t and if we consider this signal is delayed by t seconds, right, which we shall denote by phi t. So whatever happens in gt at some time instant t also happens in phi t t seconds later at time instant t plus t. So it means that if we have a gt, so if we take there is a delay of a t seconds, then if we represent that signal by phi t, then this will be equivalent to gt when there is a delay of time t second. So phi t plus t, we just named it as a phi. So phi t plus t equals to gt. So it means that if we have a signal gt and it is delayed by t second, and when the delayed signal and the original signal will be equal at the time instant t plus t is equal to original signal gt, and we can represent phi t equals to gt minus t, because just move this t here to here, so it becomes gt minus t. Therefore, to time shift a signal by time capital T, we replace t with t minus t, right? So do time shifting. If just focus on these two terms, gt and gt minus t, so we replace t with t minus t. Thus gt minus t represent gt time shifted by t seconds, right? If t is positive, for example here we put the value of t positive, for example 2. So if t is positive, the shift is to the right, it is delay, right? T minus 2 is a delay. If t is negative, the shift is to the left, so it is called advance. So thus gt minus t is gt delayed by 2 seconds, and g2 t plus 2 is advanced left sided by 2 seconds. So in next slide I will show how it looks like. For example, look at this. This is our original signal gt and we delayed by t second, capital T second. So this is when we look at this signal, so it is like this one, right? But similarly, if we delay by t second, look at this, this is delayed, we move to the right by t second. So similarly, we start from here and end to here. So it is similarly like gt but delayed by t second. So gt is equal to gt minus t, right? So for advance, if we consider g t plus t, so it will move towards this side, right, left side. And let's move to other property. It is called time scaling. As its name suggests, we have to scale in with respect to time, right? X-axis will be scaled up. So the time scaling results in compression or expansion of signal in time is known as time scaling. For example, this is your original signal. When it is compressed like this one, it is called time scaling. When it is expand like this one, it is also called time scaling. So consider signal gt as shown here, this one. The signal phi t, you must remember that we are using phi t, we are renaming the signal when it is delayed or when it is time scaled. We name it as a phi t. This is another just to represent, this is nothing else, right? So just for representation, so signal phi t is gt compressed in time by a factor of 2. So we called the g2 of t because this is compressed signal as compared to g of t. We named it as a phi t, right? To just for representation, actually this is g2 of t, but just for representation, we named it phi t, right? Therefore, whatever happens in gt at some time instant t, for example, at time instant t here, which is capital T1, whatever happens here, whatever happens mean what is the shape of the signal here in terms of amplitude. So whatever happens at time instant t also happens at to phi t at time instant t by 2. So that phi, because it is compressed, right? Whatever happens here at t1, for example, there this is happening at t1 by 2, and similarly minus t1 by 2, and similarly at plus, but here it's not minus plus because they just named at t1 and t2 for ease. So we have a t1 by 2 that's happening at t1 by 2, and for t2 it is happening at t2 by 2, right? So we can mention it as like that, phi t by 2 equals to gt. You can, you got my point. I mentioned that phi t is just representation. So whatever happening at t1, right, it is happening at t1 by 2 in phi t. So when they will be equal, it means that when these two will be equal at what time extent. So it will be equal to when phi t by 2 equals to gt. So when you put, because this is phi t, you put here t by 2, so it is equal to gt, because this is g2t. So when you move to here, so it becomes phi 2 by t equals to gt, and we can write as phi t equals to g2t in other way around. So observe that because gt is 0 at time t equals to t1, gt is 0 here. Gt means its amplitude is 0 here and 0 here as well. The same thing must happen in phi 2 at half. So this is happening at t1 by 2 and t2 by 2. Therefore phi t is 0 at t1, t equals to t1 by 2 and t2 by 2, as shown in figure this one. If we recorded, if GT were recorded on a tape and played back at twice the normal recording speed, we would obtain GT2T. This is an example to uh, clarify this concept. For example, you are doing some recording on tape recorder, and when you play it fast, you know there is a feature to play it fast. So actually in fast it means that there is some compression. So for compression, this type of scaling concept is used. How much you want to compress, this compression factor depends. For example, G2T, here 2 is the compression factor. If it is 3T, it is more compressed. If it is 4T, it is more compressed, right? So so on, right? So this compression, it means that in recording the speed of the when you play again, its speed will be much faster as compared to the normal recording speed. In general, if gt is compressed in time by a factor a, the resulting signal, where a is greater than 1, the resulting signal is given by phi t gat. As I mentioned that a can be 1, 2, greater than 1, sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. The other term is expansion. Let's move on. So using a similar argument as we discussed, we can show that gt is expanded. It means that slowed down in time by a factor a, where a is greater than 1 is given by. So as I mentioned, phi t is just a name to represent gt when there is a modification in gt actually. So modified gt. So phi t equals to gt over a. In previous there was a gat, and here t over a. So figure 2.9c, actually this one, shows that gt by 2, which is gt expanded in time by a factor 2. So whatever t gt looks here, it's expanded here as well. For example, there was a t1, so here we have a 2t1, and there was a t2, and here we have a 2t2. So this is expansion. So when there is a division, you must remember for ease there is expansion, and when there is a multiplication, there will be a compression. So note that the signal remains anchored at t is equal to 0 during scaling operation, means expanding or compression. that point is always same, it fixed, because this is at time equal to 0. In other words, at time t is equal to 0 remain unchanged, because you know that gt equals to gat, we mentioned for compression. So when you put 0 here, it will become g0. So when what is at g is a0 gt, it is same at g2t as well, right? Because time is equal to 0. And in summary, to time scale a signal by a factor a, we replace t by at, and if a is greater than 1, the scaling is compression, and if a is less than 1, the scaling is expansion. So for ease, we can say that it is always like this one, gat, right? But when a is greater than 1, it is called compression, but when a is less than 1, it is called expansion. How? Because look at this, we consider here a 1 over 2, which is less than 1, so it is 0.5. And in the previous example, we consider a greater than 1, which is, it was 2. So this was the concept of time scaling. So here you can see that uh, by doing compression, the in case of a recording you did or you perform the recording, this tape recording will move fast, right? But if you do the expansion, it will be played slowly. So this is a similar figure, but you can see clearly here it is a time scaling gt, qt, gt by 2. Okay, let's discuss some example. So figure 2.10ab shows the signal gt and zt. There are two signals. For example, this is gt and this is zt. This is just names. So sketch g3t and zt by 2. So g3t, it is a compression, right? As we mentioned that if a is greater than 1, then it will be a compression. So let's move on. So whatever the signal looks at g3t at time this one, it will be divided by 3 in the compressed signal. Let's see here, right? So 6, so divided by 3, we will get 2, right? So for 12, 12 divided by 3, we have a 4. It's not mentioned here. But 15 divided by 3, we have a 5. So this looks similar at 5. And 24 divided by 3, it is 8. So this. So you can clearly see that there is a compression in G by G3T by doing G3T operation. In other case, this is ZT and we need to plot ZT by 2. So it will be just a multiplication here to have a similar figure. So minus 3, so into 2, minus 6, right? Minus 1 into minus 2. So this is expanding, right? This place, and then we have a this place, right? And then 1 into 2, so we have a 2 here. So G3T is GT compressed by a factor 3. This means that the value of GT at T is equal to 6, 12, 15, 24 occur in G3T at time instant 2, 4, 5, 8 respectively as shown in the figure 2.10c, which I already explained. Similar is the case for ZT by 2. ZT is expanded by a factor of 2. The values of ZT at T1, minus 1 and minus 3 occur in ZT by 2 at instant 2, minus 2, minus 6 respectively. There is another property called the time inversion. So in time inversion may be considered a special case of a time scaling with a is equal to minus 1. For example, we have a signal, previously we discussed GAT. So there was a, for compression a was a greater than 1 and for expansion it was a less than 1. So we can consider this time inversion as a special case of a time scaling, but here we have a equals to minus 1. So it can be like g minus t, right? So consider a signal, this one for example, we can view gt as a rigid wire frame hinged at the vertical axis. You can see that, for example, this is your vertical axis, this is x-axis. So you can see that this is a frame, for example, hinged at the vertical axis. So to invert GT, we need to invert this one. We rotate this frame 180 degree about the vertical axis. For example, you want to invert this, then what will you do? You will rotate 180 degree, like in this way, right? So it will be inverted, right? So about the vertical axis. This time inversion or the folding, the mirror image of GT about the vertical gives us the signal phi t. So if you will move from here, right? Look at this. If you move, this point is fixed because this is fixed at, we are talking about time inversion. So this point will be taken from here to here, right? But the vertical axis at the same point. Look at this, 2 and minus 5. So 5 move to, we pick from here and end it here. So minus 5. Similarly, in this case, our minus 1 will be fixed. So we move from here and to this, right? This 2. So look at this to this. This is called time inversion. So observe that whatever happens in figure 2.1, this is 2.11a at some time instant t, also happen at 2.11b at time instant minus t. Occurs at time instant t, this is the amplitude. What occurs here at time instant minus t, minus 5. So, we can mathematically write as phi minus t equals to g. As I told you, it's a renaming, or phi t is equal to g minus t. Therefore, to time invert a signal, we replace t with minus t. Thus, time inversion of a signal yields g minus t. So, consequently, the mirror image of gt about vertical axis is g minus t. Recall that also the mirror image of a GT about the horizontal axis is minus GT. So here we perform everything across the vertical axis. So this is the mirror image. So if we perform across the horizontal axis, so it would be like minus G of t, not G minus t. Why? Because if you will do across the vertical axis, so 2 will move to, this point will remain fixed. It will look like something this way. For example, previously you have this one. So if you do about the horizontal axis, then what will it be? The output will be something like this one. This will move to here and it looks like this way. 2, 2 minus 2. So this is the case of time inversion. This is across the mirror image across the vertical axis, and if you need the mirror image across the horizontal, then it will be equivalent to minus g of t, not g of minus t. The other example, just to show the concept, for example, the signal gt shown in figure 2.1, this one, right? Sketch g minus t. So what you need to do, you don't need to change the amplitude of the vertical part, just you need a mirror image. So minus 5 will move to the 5 and minus 1 will move to the 1, right? So just pick from here and rotate. So this point you just pick and move to the other point. So 1 will be moved to, minus 1 will move to 1 and minus 5 will be moved to 5. So this is the example of time inversion. Sampling property of the unit impulse function. Why this is much important in communication system? The sampling, because whenever you convert the signal from analog to digital, for example, this is your analog signal and you like to convert into a digital signal like this signal, right? So there is a step from analog to digital conversion. First step is the sampling. So how can we perform the sampling? This is another topic, but mathematically we can describe the sampling here as a unit impulse function. So from equation it follows that if you can see that this is our function, for example phi t, we can call this one as a phi t, right, this one as a phi t, and this is impulse. Everyone of you know that what is impulse. The impulse is a function, for example this one, which has only amplitude of 1 at time 0, right? So this is called an impulse. It has amplitude 1 at time equals to 0. So it means that if we put time equals to 0, if we, for example, this is our function phi t, and this is the equals to time 0, for example, this is time 0. So if we multiply it with impulse, like this one, which has amplitude of 1 at time 0, so what we will get in result? We will get the same signal, like the amplitude of the signal at time 0. Look at this, phi at 0 into delta impulse of t at 0, which is equal to 1. So 1 into phi 0, what will you get? Phi 0. Phi 0 means the amplitude of the signal, or the what would be the value of the signal at time instant 0, you will get in the output. So provided phi t is a continuous at time 0, this result means that area under the product of a function with an impulse delta t is equal to the value of that function at the instant where the unit impulse is located, as I mentioned. So this property is very important and useful and known as the sampling property or the shifting property of the unit impulse. So if, in another way, in another example, for example, this one was at the time 0. So if we take impulse at time equals to t, right, t equals to capital T, then what would be the value of the phi t at t we will get in the output. So phi impulse t minus t, it will be equal to 1 at time t equals to t. So put capital T here, so we will get phi capital T. So it means that we will get the amplitude of the signal or the area of the signal at that instant. So equation is just another form of a sampling of shifting property. In this case, the impulse, which is equal to 1, is located at time t equals to t rather than t equals to 0. Therefore, the area under phi t into delta t minus t is phi capital T. Right? And this can be easily clear to you. For example, if you multiply anything or any signal with 1, so uh, then in the end you will get the output which with the value of the signal, because 1 will not affect the output, right? So the value of phi t at the instant where the impulse is located. In these derivations, we have assumed the function is continuous at the instant where the impulse is located. So this is the sampling property of the unit impulse. So we can use that sampling property to get samples, and in the end it will be used to convert analog to digital signal. The other is unit step function. Why is it important? Because unit step, first of all, you have to know that what is unit step, then we can discuss the importance of the unit step. Firstly, the unit step function is always, the amplitude of the unit step function is 1 when the amplitude, when the time is greater than or equal to 0. So this was how it looks like. For example, this is time axis. So it will be 1 when t is equal to 0, and it will be 0 when t is less than 0. So this is 0. When t greater than or equal to 0, it results in 1, otherwise it's 0. If we want to want a signal to start at t equals to 0, so that it has a value of 0 for t less than 0, we only need to multiply the signal with ut. So what is the importance of the ut is that whenever you have a signal, for example, you have a signal something like this, right? This one. Now you just want the signal start from here. So what you will do? You will just multiply the signal. For example, this is e minus at, for example. Then you multiply it with ut, right? Ut. u of t. Example, multiply with ut. So what will you get? This part will be cancelled out and you will get the signal from here, right? So in this way you can make it as a causal signal. Why? Because a signal that does not start before t is equal to 0 is called a causal signal. In other words, gt is a causal signal if gt equals to 0 for less than 0. So it means that if the signal has a and is on start from the time 0, then it is causal. So to make any signal causal, we just multiply that signal with unit step, it will make a causal signal. This is an example, as I already discussed. This is a unit step function with amplitude 1 for t is equal to 0. So when we multiply e minus at with ut, so there is a no part of the signal before time equals to 0, so it makes it in a causal signal. The other thing is that if we combine the impulse functions like from minus infinity to t, so it will give you 0 for t less than 0, and for t greater or equal to 0 it will give 1. So it means that, for example, you know that when t equals to 0, impulse is 1, right? When, for example, when we called it t equals to 1, impulse is also 1, right? This is discrete, but if we take a continuous one, so for every point there will be an impulse, for every point there will be an impulse, right? If we are taking time period like minus infinity to t, for example, so in this way if we combine, then it will become a signal like a unit impulse, unit step function, not unit impulse. So when we combine different impulses, it can become a unit step as well. So this was just a concept about the unit step function. Thank you for listening. For question answer, there will be a separate slot and the exact time and date will be communicated later on. Thank you very much.